Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome each one of you to the CEO Talk New Delhi. This is an initiative by the Talk. My name is Anmol Garg, and I'm the founder of a sales training company called Sales 5X. I'm going to be a moderator for today's session. CEO Talk is a platform that helps sharing ideas and insights to transform organizations and to create a better and meaningful business relationship and partnership. This event is brought to you by Tata Tele Business Services. It's the country's leading enabler of connectivity and communication solutions for businesses, with services ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud, security, IoT, and marketing solutions. Tata Tele Business Services offers the largest portfolio of ICT services for businesses in India. I would now like to welcome our lovely panelists who've joined in for today's discussion. I know this is a virtual meet, but after I call out the name and the designation, let's give each other a round of applause. Let's hear the applause. It's been long since we get to hear an applause. I'm going to start with Mr. Amal Anand, Director, Loam Solar Private Limited. Can we hear it from Amol?
Yeah, thank you so much, Anmol. Pleasure.
Thank you, Amol, for joining us. We have Ms. Deepti Goswami, Executive Director, BNI Delhi Central and East, and also co-founder Together Investing Club.
Pleasure to be here.
We have Mr. Abhilash Ramesh, Executive Director, Kairali Ayurvedic Group.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Ms. Sivia, Gaul, co-founder and CHRO, Yschool learning app Edusquare.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction, Amol.
Mr. Bandhul Bansal, CEO of Finstreet.
Honored to be here, guys.
And Mr. Prashant Kaul, Managing Director, South Asia, PMG Integrated Communications Private Limited.
Thank you, Amal. Good to be a part of this panel.
Great. It's lovely to see smiling faces in the morning. So again, thank you so much for joining us. I now invite Mr. Aditya Kinra, Vice President, SME Regional Operations, Tata Teleservice Business Services, to deliver the welcome address. Let's give Aditya a huge round of applause.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everyone on a virtual platform today, and I sincerely welcome all the panelists for this roundtable conference. Just a few months back, all of us were planning and evaluating to execute this CEO talk somewhere across the country in person and sitting across the table with a hot coffee. But I think God had different plans, and here we are on a virtual platform. The outbreak has totally forced organizations to evaluate how experiences and how things are delivered across, employees, across customers. But one of the things which certainly talks about is that the outbreak has forced organizations to think is beyond customers and employees is the citizen and the human factor. I sincerely feel that, all of us in the industry and in the corporate world were totally missing this factor in our day-to-day lives and the way we used to make our decisions. It's not just about the way this whole experience is just being delivered. It's also about, one of the leaders in the CXO series talked about that the fundamentals of the business don't generally change as fast as the situations around you change, right? And it was nice to hear that different people had very different thought processes. Just 6 months back, in our company, in a telecom organization, we used to look at this business more from a manufacturing, IT, BPO, ITS. And now it's somebody sitting in a Gurgaon in a manufacturing is behaving very differently from somebody sitting in a manufacturing in Calcutta. The business decisions are absolutely either, the structural change is either short-term or long-term. And different leaders are taking those calls really differently. Some feel that the structural change is required and it's important to move from a mechanical world to a digital world. Some feel one of the lady leaders of a logistic company, a CEO of a logistic company, in the last series talked about that they went to a digital platform and came back to the mechanical world. They felt that that in a logistic company it doesn't work. People have to be in front of you. So it would be nice to hear what leaders across all of you are doing in your businesses, and are the structural changes coming from a short-term or a long-term perspective? So Anmol, back to you. Let's have the conference going.
Sure. Thank you so much, Aditya. Let's give Aditya another round of applause. I've heard that clapping makes you happy. So the more we clap, the happier we become. I think these are trying times for all of us. Thank you, Aditya, for setting the precedent to this discussion. Let's now dive into this roundtable. The theme of today's discussion is rising to the challenge with the tech advantage. The format of the discussion is very simple. I have about 5 to 7 questions. I would love to get views of every panelist on these questions. A humble request to everyone is to keep your answers short and crisp so that we hear out from everyone, and it also helps us wrap up on time. All right. With that, I'm going to start with my first question. A quick 90-second take, anywhere from 60 to 90 seconds. How has the pandemic affected your business? We've got industry leaders across businesses. I'm going to start with Abhilash. How has the pandemic affected your business?
So Kairali is a diversified company. We have multiple verticals. So from hospitality, products, training centers, and Ayurvedic centers and spas. So each vertical had its own experience. The hospitality, as everyone knows, the travel industry just went completely bust. Relying completely on 75% is inbound clientele, so no flights means no clients. So we had taken a decision of renovating our entire assets, all our assets across India and in Europe. We will restart them in March, hopefully, because then at least there'll be some traction. So it was more of a, now it's being used as training, internal improvements, and innovations. For our product section, though, it was a complete opposite. We manufacture sanitizers. We always did. So I think I don't need to explain that. That just went through the roof. It's still going through the roof. There is no stopping it. We are surprised by the growth we've seen there. We need to do a scale, add a new factory, adopt technology so rapidly that what our 5-year growth plan happened in a few months. So that's the complete opposite spectrum of my hospitality. Services as a sector is now starting again on a limited scale with social distancing. So that has also been trying for that vertical of our business, but it's going on. Training has shifted completely now to this platform, digital. So, and it's worked wonders because where we had limitations of 25 people in a class, now I can do 250 people. And it's the same single teacher. So resource costs went down per student, and the output is much larger now. So it changes. Yeah.
Sure. So end of the day, are you smiling, Abhilash, with the way things have gone?
Can't complain.
Can't complain. That's a politically correct answer. All right. Moving on to Prashant.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I see it as two. Anmol, I see the negatives, and there are lots of positives as well. Fortunately, unfortunately, we're unlike Abhilash. We don't manufacture sanitizers, so we haven't seen no growth. The company I work with is a marketing communications company, so we do a lot of Marcom stuff. Events was a large part of our portfolio that we did. Obviously, like the travel industry, events has taken a big hit as well. So let me start with the negatives, and there are lots of positives that have come out of the whole thing as well. So I think we need to kind of balance the two. From a negative perspective, yes, it has had a financial impact on us. It's had a personal effect on people. I mean, we were all working together, and suddenly we've had to have people who we've had to lay off. So that has an impact as well. There's been a mental and emotional impact, which I think is a more long-lasting thing than the financial aspect, right? Financial will bounce back next year, hopefully. If not next year, 22 for sure. But the emotional part is something we'll all have to grapple with for a while, for a few years to come. We've lost friends, family, etc. Right? So that's something which will take time. Lastly, is the social aspect of the negative side, right? We were always interacting with each other, especially in our business. We are sitting across the table, briefing each other. That's all gone out of the window, right? And so those are the negatives, but there have been lots of positives as well, right? I mean, we've realized how fast are we to adapt as humans. Right? I mean, again, Abhilash's example of how the sanitizer business has taken off, then they put a new factory. Yeah, it's told us that we humans can adapt very quickly to change in our environment, and nothing has changed as badly or as the environment will change for us in March of this year. We've also become very innovative. We've kind of tried to get into different areas of business within the realm of our business. That's kind of worked in our favor as well. I also think that we used to earlier talk about core competency, right? The first question in our interview used to be, so what's your core competency? You know what? That's again a thing of the past, because if you were in a core competency business which was only travel, you would be sitting at home twiddling your thumbs, right? The fact that Abhilash, again, I'm coming back to the example because he's the one who's already spoken. If he didn't have the sanitizer business, he'd be in big trouble. So I think what this has taught us is that core competence is no longer the only competence you should focus on. Diversity is extremely important, and hopefully we will all learn from it and see which are the other areas we could diversify into rather than just stick to one business.
Sure. Interesting perspectives there. Core competency is now just a part of the whole game. Diversity is equally important. Moving to Deepti. Deepti, you work with diverse entrepreneurs as part of BNI. Let's Invest Together. So what have been your observations last 6-7 months?
Well, the last few months have certainly been a hit emotional aspect point of view. But if we talk about business point of view, I think because of technology, we have moved to a next level. As we may know already, BNI basically is an offline platform. We've been running this for 35 years globally. But because of technology, we could move all of that practically in a matter of one single week to Zoom. We are in a business of managing interaction. That's what we do. And we have a strength of more than 270,000 businesses registered with us worldwide across 74 nations. But it was because of technology we could move on. Once we did that, we realized that now there were no limitations. There were endless possibilities. When we are talking about, even while building groups, we have had certain largest launches in BNI, 231 member launches in one single business group that we built. That has happened during this time. 4 groups getting launched on the very same dates happened during this time. People are able to connect with each other across the cities, across the countries, by means of the online platform. So for us, yes, it has been a boon, I should say. And it would not have been possible without the technology. We are very, very grateful, because it's all about managing the interaction between people, which was not made possible given the outbreak. The other business that I run, Together Investing, we launched the same thing on the day of the lockdown being announced. And the reason it grew, and we were covered in Forbes last month because we were able to make 8 clubs actually, which are across 13 cities and 3 countries. And we are now getting requests from Sri Lanka, from Dubai, from Canada for expanding it there. It's all because of technology. So I think the possibilities are endless. Now that we're moving into this era, the human element is taking a backseat. Yes, the interactions are not there as they were, but there's a lot more to look forward to. Absolutely.
Sure. I love that technology bit. We will get into that in a bit of time, focus more on that. I love your background. It says restarting the world with a reboot button. I wish it was just that simple, just hit a reboot and we are back to normal. All right, moving to Bandhul.
Yeah, Anmol. Actually, we have been very fortunate on the business front when it comes to the pandemic, and we have seen a good growth because primarily we are a content company. We are a content marketing company where we educate people about cryptocurrencies. We had the twice effect that one, edtech was growing at a very fast scale. On the other hand, cryptocurrencies adoption has increased, and people have understood the value of digital money, that they need something like digital money in the space. Right. On the diversified portfolio space, we have another company known as Quadvi Technologies, where we give technological solutions to the companies. And since everybody knows that technology is growing at a good scale, as Deepti mentioned, the one thing I love about the pandemic, that people have realized the power of technology. And now they are not just enabling their current business with technology, they are growing very fast with technology. as Deepti mentioned, right? You beforehand you can just reach out like to 20,000, 200 students in the conference. Now you can like go ahead with 2,000 students in one go, and that's the power of technology, and that's the thing I love. One downturn that I see in technology with this pandemic is the emotional driven the problem that people face. Like most of our employees are at home, and their mother caught up with COVID, or they themselves got affected, right? So that gives a downward morale to the company, and somewhat it affects the company in such way. So yes, emotional problems are there, but at the same time the opportunities are opening up. So we have a pretty good opportunities in the market that are floating right now, and we all can capture it with the depth of technology. And in a way, in a longer time perspective, like 5 to 10 years, I guess this event will have a positive impact on the business. So yeah, I'm very happy with the situation in the business terms. But yeah, on a personal level, on a global level, the problem is huge, and we must address it with the current solutions. That's
Sure. I hope it turns out the way you said it, in terms of we looking back and saying this was good. Amol?
Sure. So we are Loam Solar, and we manufacture solar panels and latest technology lithium batteries, which are used into homes. We are a young startup. We started about 2 years ago only, and business is all about the challenges. Pandemic has been a great challenge to everyone, to the economy, to the companies, and to the families. And what we have learned is that when we got a big challenge, then you also bring a good and big opportunity. For us, in the month of April, the revenue was zero, but every month the revenue was higher. And I think because we are into the most energy sector where you need the energy, you are doing work from home or you are traveling, you are anywhere, energy is required. It's a necessity for the life. So we are growing since the lockdown. It was part of the necessary item list for every human being. See, what lockdown has taught us as a startup or a businessman, while we read a lot of news about the businesses, that revenue has been going and declining. Couple of things that none of the CEOs or CXOs or the founders or chairman has thought is that you should make a business model or a company where if you do not get the revenue for the 6 or 9 months, still you have to run the organization. This pandemic has taught us we have to be prepared for that. And the second thought, which this current situation has given to us, is that you have to be prepared one of the worst time and the best time. Technology comes into two forms. It could be a product, it could be a service. Digital marketing or digital, it's part of the service industry. While in the product, there will be a technology. The technology could improve in many ways, like to increase the efficiency of a solar panel. That means in the limited space, you generate more power. In limited space where your home is going to be small because you're going to move into apartments, you can bring compact size batteries which can last long. If the current technology battery lasts for 4 hours, you bring a battery, it will last 8, 10, or 12 hours. So technology is there everywhere. The only thing that we face as a challenge in a startup is that adoption of technology is a little difficult for us. And if you use the technology, somebody says that I was talking to 230,000 people over the Zoom. If the pandemic has not come, people would not have used the technology. It was forced to use the technology. Similarly,
Right.
what we also feel is that as sooner you use the technology in and around you, like you start with yourself, with your employees, with the supplier, with the customers, then you create an alternate business model. That means without contactless. Or yet, what Aditya said is that the business economics does not change very fast. So what changes? It's a medium. Still, we are talking to the people, but we are not going physically, but we are talking over the internet. That is what he changed, and I think it will help you grow multi-fold.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that, Amol. Good to see that your numbers are increasing month on month. Sivia, would love to get your perspective on this.
So yeah, so we have we are an edtech education company. So there are two facets to it: the online and the offline business. So the offline business, definitely, you would know that it got hit really bad, because the feces that the charges that the customer pays for an offline interaction with the faculties was not the same for the online. But for us, technology actually helped us a lot, because we had a head start. We had already launched our edtech product an year ago in 2000, by the end of 2018. So we were already preparing. It gave us a head start, as all the resources that we had, even the star faculties that we had, we got the buy-in for them to work on our edtech product, which was otherwise not possible in the normal scenario. Otherwise, the timelines were also so busy. The use of technology, definitely with this edtech product and other resources that we had, we could rapidly increase our numbers. We could our reach. Our product, it moved from just 10 to 12 cities in India to 200 cities across the world. And so we could touch students and customer base that we could otherwise would have never thought of. In an offline setup, it is not possible. So the one thing that this pandemic has actually taught us as an organization, so is definitely invest in people rather and processes and rather than machines. Because for us, our employees are people that work for us. They have actually taken us higher, so they work day in day out. So the day the lockdown was announced, all our faculties, they all our resources, they moved, all the setups were moved to their houses. They worked like 24/7, and the recordings were being done through the night, because everybody have families, and with families being at home, and with everybody facing a resource crunch at their houses also, they were made to do a lot of things, but which they managed with a smile on their faces. And that is because yes, so that is because they had a trust, and they had a trust for the organization, and they wanted to grow with it. So I think that is very important, that this pandemic has taught. I think that is what Aditya was also mentioning, and Prashant also, that people again, they form the core of the organization. So I'm being the CHRO again, would definitely want to put a very vast focus on that, because we had of lately we had seen that the focus on people was going off, and we'd always thought that you have to be cut through the competition, so you cannot be like a people's person. You have to work on getting the best out of them, so you have to be rude, crude, everything. But I think definitely the trust that comes, because if you take your employees with you, that has actually helped us, even being an educational organization. Yes.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that perspective. As they say, build people, build your employees, and employees will build your organization. Well said, Sivia. Raise your hand if you think the second half of this financial year is going to be much better in terms of revenues. H2 is going to be much better than H1 for you personally. Okay. Prashant's raising both his hands. I think there's going to be a big Philip coming. Did everyone raise their hands? Let me just quickly check if you think, okay, that's everyone on the panel. Brilliant. I think it's good to see that. So maybe I'll start with Prashant. Prashant, you said there's a lot of focus on offline events. So do you see that things opening up, people actually going to events with a lot of restrictions being removed as well?
Why I put both my hands up is because I think I'm being more of an optimist, and I want to just make, that was the reason for both my hands. I would think that we would be not coming back to normal for the next 1 year at least. But things will start becoming better in the second half of next year in our business, and that's my earnest hope. The thing with this pandemic is it's a moving target, right? I mean, you go back in March, and I was saying in March, hey, you know what? I'm back in office in July. In July, we were saying, you know what? Diwali time, we're back in office. Now we're saying, it's March. So unlike other recession now that India's got into one, unlike other issues that we faced in the past, this is like a moving target all the time, right? So that's the problem with this particular one. I'm saying right now July, but you know what? We could be talking in July, and I could be absolutely wrong, right? So why I'm saying this is because I hope that the vaccine will have some impact. I'm not very, very optimistic about the vaccine, if you ask me honestly, but because I know that our business requires people to be together, I would hope that happens. If that doesn't happen, then I guess we'll continue the way we're working right now, which is not bad, right? I mean, we're still doing fairly decent amount of business, but Yeah, I think it'll start picking up
Sure.
from the Q2 and Q2 of next year.
Sure. I hope that target doesn't move. I hope we can stick to that part. Great. Abhilash, other than your sanitizer business, do you see other businesses picking up as well, H2?
So for, if you say product business, well, sanitizers aside, yes, the other products have started moving. Retail stores are opening up. Doctors have started visiting their clinics again. So yes, that's also going to grow slowly. In terms of the hospitality industry, I don't think till next year, sometime mid next year or September next year, when this season starts, we're going to see a lot of improvement. We have seen gradual improvement, but nowhere near the previous numbers we were at. And the service side, yes, also will grow slowly because, yeah, people are getting more confident, they're more safer, they are more educated on how to deal with the situations. So that will also grow slowly. It's not going to be a drastic change. A lot of the business models are going to evolve also. Like the training programs going digital was something we planned, but was not going to happen for the next 5 years. We were anyways on a track of going to a digital revolution inside the company. It's just that sped up. So when the whole model of offline classes went into online classes, was unforeseeable boon in revenue, which we did not, which we never considered. And now it's set a different benchmark. The whole business has changed. So how is H2 going to be, or next quarter? We'll see, but I'm positive. We manifest everything, right? So we manifest positivity.
Absolutely. That's the power of the subconscious mind. How many of you think post July next year, at least, I think the vaccine should be out by then and the distribution has happened, that we are going to go back to normal? A quick raise of hands again. Post July 2021.
So define normal, Anmol. What do you mean by normal? Because, if you're saying normal, I don't think any of them will, my opinion, will they raise a hand. So are you saying the old normal? Old normal is not going to happen for sure.
Interesting perspective there. It's not going to be the old normal. I think we've changed forever in a lot of ways. And that brings me to another interesting point of work from home, right? How many of you think work from home is here to stay? Okay, raise your left hand if you think work from home is here to stay. Or we'll go back to office once the vaccine is out. That's the right hand. If you think it's a hybrid model, give me a namaste. Work from home left, fully to office, right? Hybrid, namaste. Amol, where are you on this? I think you're...
Because we are into manufacturing business, we are into product business. So product cannot be made without a man. You need the people in the factory. And if you have to send one item to another place, you need the people in the transportation. So product business cannot run without the people. It cannot be done within the offices or the internet.
Sure.
So I certainly believe that it is not going to help us a lot.
Yep, you're walking the talk. I can see that you're in office. I'll go to Deepti. Deepti, as Amol rightly said, some industries are very, labor intensive, as in people are needed on the floor to make it. But a lot of functions, can be done at home, right? Let's say sales or marketing, Zoom selling. So do you think we're going to move to, you said a hybrid model. Why do you think it's a hybrid model that will come into play?
So the business that we are in, B&I, we manage the human interactions, as I said, but the result is the money the revenue that gets generated. And that relies totally on the trust people are able to develop amongst each other. Over the Zoom, there's only so much you can do. So people need to connect with each other and socialize with each other to be able to develop that trust and share their connections. Hence, we need to be back in that same position as we were earlier, so that the revenues go up. Revenue of BNI as an organization is going up because more people are enrolling, but the members who enroll, their revenues are also supposed to go up as a consequence to adopting to this, networking platform. So hence, yes, we would need to go back in that mode whereby people are able to meet with people and they're able to interact at a personal level. Yes.
Sure. So, we are all social animals. So that vibe is very different if we are offline now. Coming to you, Bandhul, you also said there'll be a hybrid model in place. What I want to ask you is it because that culture is built only if you and I are face-to-face vis-a-vis we're just working remotely?
One of the reasons is that, but the other reason is some of the jobs can be done at home, very well. For example, the creative job. If you're a designer, you can design in your own space and in your own room. So work from home is going to stay for designers, content writers, right? But if we say that if you need a good studio to record a video, right? As Anmol said, there are some tasks that need a man on the floor, right? So video recording is one of them. If you're teaching someone and you need to be here to record it, right? The proper studio level experience. For the other aspects of this comes from the interviews and the sales part. As Deepti said, for example, you can do all the Zoom meetings, but the personal connect that you get and the trust you get once you are in a one-to-one meeting for a big B2B product, right? For example, it can be a technological solution to the company. Now it's a big decision. You're moving all your processes to the technology. You cannot take these decisions on a Zoom meeting. You want to know the person, you want to know the processes, you want to know about the company. All of this cannot be communicated via Zoom. That's my personal opinion. I can be wrong. I can be totally wrong. But yeah, that's my personal experience that for some big meetings, you need to have that connect. You need to have that trust that personal meetings give and, cannot be replicated. I'm a technology guy, right? I'm a person who believes in technology from the beginning. But yeah, some of the things are there that cannot be replicated. So I think that the hybrid model is going to work.
Sure. Interesting perspective there again. Sivia, you said that we need to build people, but somewhere work from home actually blurs the line between what is work and what is your personal life. So do you think that's actually affecting people emotionally vis-a-vis you just show up at your office, work there for 9-10 hours and you're back with your family time?
Yes, definitely. So, that is what even I feel that, hybrid will be there because there are few verticals like, who prefer like tech teams and all also because they have their own timeline. So they prefer working from home. But like for our organization, like for education, the field that we are in, facing the students is very important. So, and as we say that motivations cannot be traveled through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So, to have that trust with the faculties also, that right now like all the students, all the students they're facing that they're dying to come to the classrooms and they want to physically interact with the teachers, with the faculties, because there are a lot of things that they are missing out on. And again, one thing again, that is peer learning. I think peer learning that has affected especially the student age group because they cannot just because of the online classes that are going on, there's so much screen exposure, then you cannot expect them to work on a Zoom call and do their peer learning and get their doubts solved amongst each other. I think that forms very important point for learning, that how do you learn amongst yourself, and especially for age groups that are the teenagers, they need to see each other, they need to have that social life that has actually been hit very hard. So I think that that's definitely for the customers also and for the organization as such, because right yesterday also only I was talking to a faculty of ours and she was like that I was dying for the organization to start the offline space so that I wanted to run away from my parents. Now it was too much, and there was no social life that was left there. So I think yes, so for employees again, because everything gets too much if it's sitting at home also, so you need to go out. So it is an hybrid model that's going to work, and it's here
Right, absolutely. Even couples want to spend some time away from each other now, having spent a lot of quality time last 6-7 months. Prashant, let's talk about technology. How did you leverage technology last 6-7 months to make sure there's continuity in business? Everyone was talking about business continuity planning. How did you leverage technology, to make sure that the business runs how it was running earlier?
More if it wasn't for technology, we would have honestly shut down, or we would have come close to shutting down. Okay, because the only logical way that our business could have moved is on the technology platform, right? We're doing humongous number of virtual events at the moment. The quantum has gone up in number of events. For example, what we're doing right now, right? We do a lot of these things times 100, right? Because there are various aspects of this virtual interaction. So we've moved to that platform, and that's been a huge technology boost. Do you remember a company called Second Life? Okay, Second Life, if for people who don't know, was this company who started I think in 2003, 2004. Okay, it was a company where you could make your own avatar, right? And you could live a life. So Prashant wanted to be a 6'2", Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of guy with long hair, which my wife doesn't permit. I could live that life on Second Life, right? And I could go into my Second Life. I could actually buy property in Second Life. There was something called LinkedIn dollars at that point in time, right? You could actually buy LinkedIn dollars, which you could visit a Nike showroom in Second Life, look at the product, and then purchase it in real life. It was quite surreal when it came out, 15, 20 years ago. But you know what? That's what is happening currently. I mean, 20 years later, after Second Life came out, this is exactly what we're doing. I mean, we've just developed a virtual mall. I mean, virtual mall. You're sitting at home and you're browsing through a mall to buy stuff, and it's actually a mall. I mean, you enter the mall, you park your car, all the kind of stuff. So, yeah, technology, I think, from our perspective, has been of great help, Anmol, and like I said, technology is one part of it, and diversity was the second. So, if you were to ask me the two biggest factors which have kind of seen or made sure that we're afloat, it's diversification and technology.
Sure. I love the analogy there, Prashant. I think with your permission, I'm going to steal it as well. I love the way you compared it with Second Life. I think who thought that we'll be buying cars with the click of a button? I think it's really changed the landscape. Deepti, you said you were prepared for that online setup. How did you leverage technology to make sure that members are interacting with each other? There's still that bond present between members.
Well, I'm not going to say it's an easy thing to do, because right in the beginning, it was a huge culture shock. Absolutely. People who were meeting, our meetings are hosted as breakfast meetings from 7:30 in the morning till 9:30 a.m. And people bond, they break bread together, they have breakfast together. That's when they talk about the personal things and the business things. And that's how the business is done right on the table then and there. So that element was missing. There is initial, like, as I was saying, there was a lot of people feeling that even now they are saying that they want to go back. And we have to keep telling them that it's a matter of a few weeks or a few months, or, let it get back to the safe mode, and then we'll bring you back. So yes, it's helping, yes, that we are still connected, but it's nothing like what it used to be. Yes, technology is helping, because it's only because they were able to build trust in the past. They had already connected with each other in the past, that they could take the relationship further and leverage from that. But to imagine that this can be the only way things would go about as far as building of relationship is concerned, that would not be an accurate depiction, I feel.
Sure. I think all the members are certainly missing the breakfast. Right? Amol, I know you said you're in the manufacturing space, but one technology that you've probably leveraged that you never thought you will, at least in 2020, which you did in the last couple of months.
So we started as a technology company only, because what we saw is that traditional companies, they manufacture products and they keep an offline model to sell out the product to the end customer. What we think that it requires huge investment if we have to go pan-India. It is not possible without the technology. So we started manufacturing of a product in a factory, and we started selling in the online mode itself. For the first 2 years, we did not have any offline channel. We grew very, very fast because we had the early mover advantage, and the other people had no expertise going online, because they were believing that solar cannot be sold online like others. And we saw that car can be sold online. It was a question mark. But we started with the online. Today, we get about 1 million traffic every month on our platform. It's about 10 lakh customers coming to our platform to buy the solar panel. In terms of brand popularity, we are highest search brand over the internet. About 110,000 people search about our brand, and it is highest among the industry. You can compare with the 30-year-old company. We are highest searched over the internet, and people knows in the offline space. But online has a limitation. Your conversion rate is very, very low. If you get 1,000 customers, and if you actually convert into sales, it is going to be 1%, 2%, 3% maximum. But in the offline space, if 100 customers are walking to the store, you can expect at least 30, 35 or 40% conversion, or maybe at minimum say 20%. And if you have to grow faster, in the year 2020, we decided that we will go offline. Our 20 times, 50 times, 100 times growth can only happen through the offline mode. It is not possible with the online. Online is very good for making things viral, for launching new products, communicating to the people, but actual conversion will happen near to the customer home. That means offline will play a very, very important role.
Sure. Point taken that there's still, at least with high ticket selling, the offline field is still important. Abhilash, what's your perspective on this? And how did you leverage technology on some of the other businesses?
So I'm slightly of a different opinion. We have always been adopting technology rather rapidly in our industry compared to our peers. We believe, our core belief is, what my mentor taught me is, measurement drives behavior. So we measure everything in our organizations, be it performances, MISs, KRAs, KPIs, everything is measured. And just with this lockdown, the measurement and data analytics, our engines grew so rapidly, so quickly. I can tell you exactly what employee is doing where at what time, right? And we had a lot of HR processes. We had to align them first, teach them, say, okay, you used to work 8 hours in office, now work only 8 hours at home. Don't overextend yourself, right? Keep it that. But when you do that 8 hours, it's a focused time. So be it with the tech guys, we installed software called Time Doctors. That it's a tracking system that tracks the efficiency in terms of coding and programming and in doing work. Asana, a tool for delegation. So it processes whatever work's told, because initially in an office, you just go and talk to someone and say, I sent you an email, reply it back at some point. But now with these advanced technologies, we know I sent it at 10:01. I expect a reply at 10:30, and the system tracks it and gives you an efficiency percentage. We never, even our wildest dreams, we never thought that would be possible, right? And then in manufacturing, we went from a basic system to a lean, where we had a TOC concept. We follow theory of constraints and lean system of manufacturing. So the efficiency in manufacturing also went up, because now we have systems where we can monitor the processes, how it's done. Advanced planning can be done. We did a lot of data crunching of past data, purchase buying behavior of our clients. Then according to that, target new products, target online sales. It's just incredible amount. It's like a new, completely new horizon we found that we were going to get to, but we got to now, right? And like Zoho, Zoho is a CRM, it integrates with your banks. No longer do we have to go to a bank or get a statement. Payments get reconciled, payment gets automated, WhatsApps go to clients, goes to vendors. It just became such a smooth system that, in fact, the more our staff say that all the internal conflicts that they used to have is gone, because there is no more unnecessary chitter chatter needed for them to talk or complain about someone else that I gave that to him, he did not reply, this was supposed to be done, it's not done. All that just disappeared overnight. Yes, alignment took a lot, because you have to realign them every week, get them educated on what it is, why we are doing this, why they need to adopt it, how it is beneficial for them to use it, right? That takes some time, and that took us nearly 8 months. For this whole 8 months, we've been just doing that, and now I think it's the best that's happened so far. The only negative, yes, when new employees join and old employees as well, that once a week interaction is mandatory, because that builds loyalty. That builds, yes, how much are you measure and how much are you push? They're not robots. They are human beings after all. So they need to see my face. They need to at least feel. They should know who the owners of the companies are. Okay, they see me more often. Like the ground level staff actually see me more often as a person. They would see me once a year, my remote locations, but now they can see me once every week. But that physical contact's not there. That is needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Interesting. Bandhul, you are largely a technology company, right? So how did you leverage, technology during this phase to make sure that, things are going as normal?
Anmol, since we were already into technology, we already had processes. That how technology helped us is the adoption. Now people are more comfortable with technology. Our clients are more comfortable with technology, right? We were selling the same technological product beforehand, right? Since the same product that people can integrate in their systems, but now they're more receptive towards it, right? Because they know the power of technology and they know that this is the time they want to adopt it. It's now or never, right? So that helped us. When it comes to education, the students are more receptive that yes, there will be Zoom classes, there will be like the pre-recorded lessons, and they can learn at home, and they want to learn new technologies. They had time, they know they want to do it via technology, and everybody is comfortable with technology. So that's how technology helped us via adoption, right? Because technology was adopted all over the India. Everybody is very receptive towards technology. It was not the case before pandemic or before lockdowns, I would say, right? Now people have understood the value of it, and on the customer side, I guess it has helped us more. So yeah, technology is a great thing, and people will come towards the technology. One more thing I want to say about here is I have a manufacturing branch where we were manufacturing customized clothing, right? It's a Quad B Apparel is the second largest Quad B custom apparel company. So we manufacture t-shirts via VAL, that is virtual assembly line. It's a concept that is used by China, where you manufacture stuff, and you have systems at your worker's house, and then they can just transport it and they can work from home, like actual workers can work from home. And we have a tech build on the same, and we were using it for last 4 years now, right? I started this company like 7 years ago. That's where the technology comes in. Then we can integrate technology in manufacturing also. You don't need to come to a factory to manufacture. The task you need to do is you can disintegrate your machine, then become create a small ventures out of it, and then everybody can plug and play, from their home only, and they can manufacture it. We have done it from the past 4 years to cut the cost, but now it's a new good thing. So that's why we're selling that also in our technology company, that is VAL, virtual assembly line.
Right. I did hear about that, how in fact even manufacturing is brought home. Very interesting.
Lidesh came here last
yes.
week, I guess. Yeah, so Lidesh
yes, he was part of that discussion. It was very interesting to see how in a traditional space like manufacturing, the disruption is happening. Great. Yes, I'm sure Amol will add some few words to it. I was just waiting for that. Amol, please go ahead. Do share your perspective as well.
When I left as an employee and started as an entrepreneurship, then one of people said to me, business is very difficult. Don't do it. You are living a very good life. Don't get into entrepreneurship. But one advantage you have, you are young, unmarried, you can do it. Let's try to the experiment. The day I started the entrepreneurship, and today we have about 100 people team, one thing that I was thinking day and night, why the businesses fail? Because it is always the CXO responsibility to run the businesses. Anything goes wrong, it goes to the CXO. Anything goes good, it goes to the CXO. Then I was worried, if 100 people are working and I'm the owner of the company or a director, I should know each employee what is doing every time. Suppose tomorrow is Tuesday at 11 o'clock, what they are going to do, what they have done a day before. That means I want to know 100 employees productivity, because the CXO work is what? Go meet people outside. You will not be there in the office. So without technology, I was not able to understand who is doing what. And today, every 100 people, what kind of project they are working on, what kind of work has been assigned to them, and how many hours they have done it, whether the mails or the work they have done are satisfactory or not. It has been traced, monitored, performed, checked over the technology. So even I go 3 months out of my company, I will still come to know Goa ke beach mein baithe hue kaun banda kya kar raha hai. Only with the help of technology.
Great. I'm sure you've seen a lot of cost ramifications, operations costs coming down and obviously productivity increasing. I think that's in fact brilliant. Now with technology, there always is a double-edged sword. There are cybersecurity risks, right? How many of you think Indian businesses are prepared for it? I'm not asking you with respect to your organization, but in general, do you think Indian businesses, enterprises, SMEs are prepared for a cybersecurity risk? Raise your hand if you agree we are prepared. And that gives the answer that only my hand goes up. And it's a big challenge. If you see the recent news, big organizations, their servers are being hacked. I'll leave the floor. Anyone who wants to add comments here, what can we do to make sure that we combat this risk? Because it's the next big pandemic, right?
Anmol, I would like to add to this, right? The cybersecurity risk. In US, we have something called HIPAA regulations, right? The people working with US must have known. We need something like HIPAA regulations in India. What is HIPAA regulation? That all the data on your servers need to be encrypted, right? So we use the encryption technologies, SHA-256. I won't get into technicalities, but yeah, you need to get on board and you secure your user data. That's the most important thing that you need to do, right? When we build a technology platform in India, for example, you make a website, you make an app, but you don't have any regulation that regulate how you store your customers' data or your own data, right? Your employees' data. So people don't know about it. Like we have regulations in all the fields. In technology, we also need some regulations. So with HIPAA regulation, what they say is you cannot store the phone number in the absolute sense. You just have to create an encrypted data. So even if your servers are hacked, the customer will just find the different hash and it will make no sense to him, right? He cannot extract data out of him even after your servers are hacked. So we need something like these incorporated on a large scale, and corporation, then governments need to step in and they need to make some regulations so that we can have some quality code or quality technical solutions for the companies. Now there we have adopted technology in India, right? Everybody needs to, but the quality of technology is very poor, right? I don't know how to say it politely or how to say it right, or at the risk of sounding
It's okay.
arrogant.
You can make it no holds barred. Go ahead and shoot.
Yeah, so the quality of code is very poor and the quality of technology is very poor, right? So we need to change that. We need good engineers, good developers working on projects, and company needs to be more practical when it comes to the user data. It's not something that on platter, right? You need to save it, and somebody is trusting you with their data, with their number, their email IDs, their address, and so much of confidential data, right? So you need to be very active that yes, this person is trusting me and I must build it first, and I must build my technology with this. And government should step in and control this. So that's I want to add on the cybersecurity part.
Sure. Anyone else wants to come in? Prashant, I think.
Go, Abhilash, after. Abhilash, after.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of cybersecurity, education is very important. Like a lot of people have been educated. If you get a WhatsApp, don't click on a link if you don't know that person, right? It's simple as that. Technology is something new for the older generation, or that has our chairman, CEOs, CXOs. They haven't dealt with this level of technology in it yet. All they rely completely on a CTO and the people below them. Or in a smaller MSME sectors, there is non-existent, right? The owner decides the adoption of technology. And if they are not educated, like HIPAA, it's a mandatory thing done abroad, but not done in India. So how is the data secured? Do you have what kind of firewalls need to be installed? Data security when it leaves office, when it comes in, right? All those things. Education process is missing here, and it has to be done on grassroots levels so that people start understanding what cybersecurity truly means. Right now, no one knows what cybersecurity means. It's just a word that some of the technologically more advanced people know. The majority of MSMEs, they pass around their email IDs, passwords, the DSCs as if it's a toy, but then those are highly valuable things that shouldn't be passed around, right?
Right.
Right. So educate them correctly and have some regulation body with repercussions, right? So that hackers, scammers are put into place that cannot leverage the people who do not know what the right way of doing things are.
Right. I think cybersecurity is becoming like AI. Everyone's talking about it, but no one's sure what it exactly is, right? Prashant, I'll bring you in on that.
Anmol, I think just to add to what Aditya said, yeah, education is important, but I think in India's case, it's more, it's a mindset, it's a culture. You know what I mean? It's a, I wouldn't like, he just mentioned, I won't think, not me, but most Indians won't think twice about giving your bank account number to whoever asks you or somebody on the road, right? So, so I think what we need to do is to have, in addition to education, a change in mindset. I mean, the same Indian, and that mindset has to happen in India and not to Indians. And there's a difference because the same Indian who goes abroad is a different Indian to the Indian that he was in India, right? So it's not the Indian, it's the Indian in India. And that's the one that we need to kind of, educate. We need a cultural change. I mean, we have this, big things. Why security? Sustainability is a big thing as well, right? I mean, that's another big one we hardly care about as Indians. So, yeah, I mean, we need a mindset change in addition to being, just because there are people who are educated, but their mindset is not the mindset of an educated person across the world, right? So that's, I think, is more critical.
Right. I think that's the more radical shift that we need in place. With that, I'm going to turn tables. In fact, Prashant spoke about mindset. Deepti, what's that one strategy that's worked for you, which you would advise, a business owner or an entrepreneur listening to this session, or someone who's, a budding entrepreneur? What's that one strategy that's worked for you that you would tell someone else?
Yes, thanks for that. What I would say, Anmol, is that, yes, as mentioned by Abhilash, that's very true, that there's a lot of education that needs to go as far as the IT safety is concerned, IT security is concerned. And me, since I represent the SME sector, I've seen it upfront. It happens like that. Point is again about going and educating them. And also these things are considered more as a cost in a business. These are some things which are always on the back burner. It's time now that they change. They need to have that paradigm shift, that these are the basic fundamentals that need to be set right in businesses right now. Because data is as important as you would say the client is, for that matter. Because if the data is not existent, your business gets disrupted and the services don't get delivered. So that shift needs to come about, and education for that is something that needs to be done really in the SME sector.
Sure. And one lesson, one strategy that's worked for you last couple of months that you want to advise a business owner on?
In terms of IT security, is that what you're...
In general, not necessarily IT security. Yeah.
Just keep at it. Just have a positive attitude. That's the only way, because in the same day, we have situation when things are like going absolutely brilliant to absolutely devastating. And there is so much that you need to handle within the day because we're working with so many different teams. So you need to have a very strong bent of mind to be able to see beyond the things which are happening right in front of you and take your team alongside. That don't worry, this is a time, it'll pass. We can move to a better tomorrow together. You just have to stick there, keep at it, and we'll pass through this. But it has to be together.
Sure. I love the words keep at it and together. I think if I could rephrase that, be like the postal stamp, right? Stick to one thing till you arrive at the destination. Sivia, what's been that one learning that you'd want to share with viewers last 6-7 months?
So for us, for me as an CXO, definitely is that give it in the hands of your employees also, that and trust them, and don't have any barriers or inhibitions that a certain role is meant to do a certain thing only. Like I think Abhilash or Prashant, they talked about that diversity, and now that's what we worked on. That a lot of our employees, not even the faculties, they were working on the technology also, and there was so much that we could learn from them because we gave them that open arena, that whatever is there, whatever you learn, whatever you think, just bring it on the table and we are ready to hear and we will work it on. So I think that has really worked for us, because all our employees, like we have 100+ employee base, they were working round the clock on multiple roles, and they were bringing in such different perspectives and aspects to the things that we could not think of at time. So, and there were if in fact at the faculty levels also, and even in the technological levels, so we didn't have to interfere at certain things, that they were learning so much, they were bringing in such huge technological changes at their own. All the faculties amongst themselves, they were training themselves, each other, they were hand holding each other so well across the departments, that that really helped us. And our bandwidth, our resource utilization has been really good in that, because as I told, a certain resource was working in multiple verticals and working across the clock and helping others also learn a few things. So I think that is one strategy I would always that actually I have learned from this pandemic also, that never have any barriers or have any inhibitions as to what a person is meant to do. So give them the open field and let them perform, and let them fumble also, and we were there to handhold, so let them fumble also and let them learn. And there's so much learning that happened mutually for all the levels, right from the the EDP to our, like, from the lowest to the highest level, to the management level. So yes.
Right. Sometimes the solution that you're looking for is with the people who you're working with. So give them that space to come up with those solutions. Thank you for sharing that, Sivia. Amol, one key learning that you want to share with us?
See, while we are saying that use technologies, but what I have felt while implementing the technology is that we are not making the technologies. The technologies are made for the US, made for the China, and we are being forced to use in India. I was thinking a day, if our Google gets shut down, what happened between India and China? All the raw materials stopped coming to the India. There was a big risk to the some of the industries. Similarly, for the technology, we are only relying to the countries like US, China. We have nothing like Atmanirbhar India. So assume a day if the Google goes and shut down, what will happen? Any technology that we're using in and around, it's whether it's social media like Facebook, Google, Twitter, LinkedIn, or maybe Salesforce, any of them, it is not in India, not made for India. And why the people are not adopting, just because it is has not understood what are the problems that Indians are facing. 65% of revenue to the government of India is going from the MSME, and whose turnover is less than 100 crores. Their employee base are not much educated. So they speak multiple languages, their understandings are different. So we are using very high-end technologies, which may or may not successful for the India, because it is not meant or made for the India. So what I'm expecting that we should make technologies which actually solves the problem of an end customer. That's my take on the technology.
Absolutely. More homegrown technologies built in-house, built for India, keeping the Indian user in mind. I think, thank you for sharing that. I think that is a very hot space in the next 1 decade. We are a big country, we are a big market. If we can cater to ourselves, I think it's going to be a game changer. Prashant, one key learning?
And that depends on which industry you're in, right? It's a different learning for a service sector, it's a different learning for a manufacturing sector. I'm going to actually steal a line from Delhi Police. It may sound a little cheesy, but it's very appropriate. With you, for you, always. That's what our employees need to think in our business at the moment, right? Because especially in the service sector, because they are going through a tough time, and they are unlike other panelists who have manufacturing facilities. We don't. We manufacture from our brains, right? And so our creative is extremely important. And therefore, the learning has been that those are your primary assets. Look after them. And the message we want to send out, and we've been doing various things, and maybe that's a different discussion we can have in terms of what we're doing. But essentially, what we want to say is with you, for you, always.
Sure. I think the Delhi police really means that. Let's hope. I don't want to make this debate political.
We do.
All right. Yeah, that's a different webinar altogether. Abhilash, one key strategy that you would advise business owners?
So one key thing that we have adopted over the last few years is schedule and measure. So taking me as a personal example, that me, my brother, father, everyone, we do, mother as well. We wake up at 4. We schedule our times by the minute. Every 5 minutes is scheduled in our calendars. Be it going to eat breakfast, be it going to meet my kids, be it going to do some schools, work, calls, telephone calls, vendor calls, everything. We measure it. We schedule it and measure it. How much did you do? And then we have our EAs that roll it over on the next day or roll it over the next week. That it's incredible how much you can get done, because you don't have to use your brain, your top of the mind recall. You never have to use. I just look at my calendar. Oh, I have to call Anmol. Oh, I have to approve this document today at this point of time. Just scheduling everything, getting your life on a piece of paper just made it so simple. And waking early, rise early, do not wake late. Early rise, because that gives an entrepreneur a me time. Work out, do something, do yoga, strategize, because when you're at office, you cannot sit and do these things. There are so many firefightings and so many things that you need to handle. You don't have any me time where you can just sit and think, if I do this, what will happen? Or if I don't do this, what will happen? Or what should I do next? That time is required for as an entrepreneur. And when we do the 4 a.m., so the 5 a.m., so 8 a.m., whatever it is that you could do, uh, it works. So that would be my key takeaway and advice.
Sure. Abhilash, just to confirm, you wake up at 4 a.m. every day?
Every day.
Wow. That's typically the time I go to sleep. But I did read the Robin Sharma 5 a.m. Club book. It's a good book, but I'm yet to act on it.
It
But
works.
thank you for sharing that emphasis on measurement. As they say, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And I think that's a key takeaway. Thank you for sharing that. Bandhul?
Yeah, more for me, I think that we are living in exponential times. The times are changing. Everything is dynamic and very well changing. So we need to automate today, and we need to work on tomorrow. For example, I'll just put my best people to work on the new technologies that are coming, that can come tomorrow, and whatsoever I have in today, I'll automate it. I'll try to automate it. Every aspect of it, may call it BHR, PR, or marketing, sales, content, everything. I want to automate everything I have on my board today, and then I can, so that I can invest in tomorrow, and I can put my best people to work on the new technology, the new things that come in future, because new technology is coming very fast. Can we see cryptocurrencies are just 10 years old, right? Or we just had first iPhone in 2008 or 2007, like 12, 13 years back, right? So the technology is moving very fast. So that's why we need to adopt very fast, and we need to act on it. So yes, that's my learning that I have learned in these times.
Sure. It's good to stay in the present, but still think about tomorrow, because that's where the action is happening. You'll be much better prepared. Thank you for sharing that, Bandhul. I'll now reach out to Aditya. If you could share with us how Tata Telebusiness Services can help SMEs entrepreneurs.
Yeah, actually, it's quite a change we are also going through in this telecom world. The first of the We've been first in the last few months trying to decipher, are we an essential service provider or we are not an essential service provider? The government regulates us and says that it's an essential services. But the fact, what happens on the floor, on the field is very different than the way the policies are made. Just for some information, telecom is generally divided into circle wise. For instance, Delhi NCR is one circle, Bombay is one circle. But whenever you've got challenges and lives become different, there is a separate Haryana government, there is a separate UP government, and a separate Delhi government, right? But your planning and your company is not working like that, right? You hired a certain group of people who were basically for service assurance. A customer has an issue, he calls you. So the guy may move from Delhi to Faridabad, or Faridabad to Gurgaon. But now the policy says you're into essential services, but the field is not operating like that. Delhi guy cannot move to Noida, Noida guy cannot move to Faridabad. So I think in the last 4 or 5 months, not all telecom companies have been quite struggling to understand that where they fall in the government line of things. And one of the realizations that we've come to is that, we talked about, and the question you asked, are we moving to a digital world? Are we remaining with the mechanical world, or it's a hybrid model? So I think the hybrid model is going to stay. That's our learning. We've been reaching out to a lot of customers. One of the things is that India is a very different country. Prashant was talking about it in a different aspect, but I won't talk about that. Um, we've got joint families in 1 bedrooms, and we've got nuclear families in 5 bedrooms, right? So the connectivity plays a very, very different role for different players. So I think we are now moving from a telecom world to a totally connectivity world. That's the objective of Tata Tele, right? And we've understood that it's not an internet or it's not a voice connection anymore. It's the connectivity play. So that's the innovation we are trying. We're talking to the world's best organizations from a technology platform, right? As large as you can think about, right? And we're trying to build those technology from the aspect that how a company can connect to an employee. That's why we come up with these cybersecurity platforms. We've tied up with Cisco, Fortinet, everyone to give the best cybersecurity services. How the employees can connect back to the company, wherein we've gone into the conferencing solutions. Then there's the third part, which we were talking about, where Sivia was talking about, a lot of human part, and the extended family is also coming into it. Abhilash was also talking about, he's about now able to reach out to all his employees, and which was not happening earlier. That's why we got into the webcasting part of it, wherever leaders want to talk to their employees and their extended families, more like a monologue where you get into the webcasting services. And even on the telecom world, we are totally moving to hosted and cloud platforms. All the hosted now, the new solutions are all hosted voice. You put your servers at the data center, right? And then wherever your employees are sitting, we're talking to the best of the financial institutions, best of the BPOs. Your custom employees can call up from whether they're sitting in Delhi or they're sitting somewhere in Chhattisgarh. It is irrelevant. Sitting at your home, you can set up the whole network. So that's the play we are now getting into. To reach out to our customers, specifically the SME ones, and help them to connect with their employees and connect with the customers in the both ways. It's whether it's the employee to the customer or customer to the employee. That's the way.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that, Aditya. I'm sure we're living in very interesting times, and yep, let's see how all of this unfolds. Thank you for sharing that. Before we wrap this up, I would love to know each one of you personally, in the sense you're all business leaders across different industries. What do you read or watch to keep yourself updated about business, and who are your influencers? Right? What do you read, watch to keep yourself updated on business, and who are your influencers? Who wants to go up first? Waiting. Everyone's okay. Abhilash, shoot.
So recently I've got into TOC. So Eli Goldratt, he's a god in manufacturing and in business processes, has written many books. His book is of Theory of Constraint is about 5,000 pages, and it has chapters on different processes and from different business leaders. Basically, he's got the best business leader to say, okay, you're the best in sales or a sales process. How did you do it? And learn from that, right? So he's got different people. So I've been referring to that. So that's my new go-to book that I would say, handbook.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And this is like a hard copy, or is it more of an online, like
hard copy? It comes as
a hard copy.
It comes as you can get the digital version, but hard copy. I'm a hard copy guy. So.
Hard copy guy. Brilliant. Bandhu, Deepti, any one of you? Yep.
So we are very fortunate that we have a living legend within the organization, the founder of our organization, Dr. Ivan Meisner. He's the author to 25 books, and we literally have a university which is floated by BNI, which is meant for all the business owners associated with us globally. So there are podcasts and there are videos and there are collaborations between best speakers in the world that we have access to. So it's not something that we do one-off. This is something which is part of our fabric. We're doing it every single day. The motivation that we pass on to the members and the business owners, the kind of support we are able to give to them right now when they're going through the toughest time ever. This is coming right from the top for us. And like I said, we have the best in our kitty right as part of our organization. So we are very fortunate that way.
Sure. Nice to know, Deepti. Bandhul?
Yeah. So I'm reading two books at this time. One is Blank, and the other one is the Bitcoin Standard. Since we're into a tech business, so we have to currently, read and make content about it. But I'm reading Bitcoin Standard the third time, and it's a wonderful book. And I suggest everybody on the board and everybody who's listening to you can go to this book and understand that how they see the world, how Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, sees the world, and what is this behind the economics of money and how money works. It's a type of philosophical book that connects with technology. That's the best part of it. That's why I'm reading it third time, and I'm really loving it again.
Great, brilliant. I'm sure we've all read one book many times, because every time we read it, something new comes out.
Comes out. Exactly.
Right. Amol, if you're with us, I'll move to Sivia while we get you in.
Yeah. So for me, one cult book that has been, close to me always is Secret, and I am a real admirer of that book, and that is still with me, and I keep on, again and again looking towards it, because I think that is my motto for life. The law of attraction really works, and especially in this pandemic, we had each one of our employee, even our students, have it. Watch the videos and keep that book as a cult, and we always motivate our students to keep it as a cult book with you, and keep looking at it and keep repeating the things, and actually it actually helps. So apart from all the technical readings and technical knowledge sharing that you do, I think evolving spiritually, and especially your mind, focusing on a strong mind is very important. So I think that is where Secret has helped me, and I think all the team members a lot. So I would definitely go for that.
Sure, I'm a big part of the Secret cult. I've read it many times over. In fact, I'm reading books by Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is on becoming supernatural and you're the placebo. He gives a very scientific explanation to the whole process of what they say in the Secret. Thank you for sharing that, Amol. If you're around, if not, I'm going to end it up with Prashant. Prashant, the floor is yours.
Oh, well, so I keep I'm a big sports fan, so I kind of read a lot of golf. That's the game I play. So the Golf Digest and all of that. From a book perspective, in advertising, if you haven't read Ogilvy, you basically don't belong into advertising. So I've done a lot of reading on advertising. There's a book called The Unpublished. If anybody hasn't read it, please read it. It's about all the advertising that David Ogilvy did, which never got published. So the client said, "Bakwas, you don't need to reject an ad." So there are some beautiful ads in that. It's called The Unpublished. That, and the one which is kind of impressed me a lot. Slightly older book. It's called The Lexus and the Olive Tree. And if you guys haven't read it, I strongly recommend it. It gives you comparison in terms of how after Japan went through their Hiroshima and Nagasaki and was pretty much destroyed, how they've moved on from there to manufacture a car like Lexus, and how in the Middle East they are still fighting over a piece of land where the olive tree is. So it's a great read. So that's the one that I think I would recommend.
Sure, interesting mix of books. I think I will definitely check out all of them. Thank you for sharing that, Prashant. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this insightful discussion. Firstly, thank you so much for taking your time out and adding so much value to it. I think give yourselves a big round of applause. Let's hear the round of applause again. A very insightful discussion. I hope your businesses grow just like the horses in Prashant's background. They're all going up. So that's the positive side. May you have more horsepower. Thank you again on behalf of the talk and Tata Tele Business Services. I thank you for sharing your time, and keep smiling.